A seemingly ordinary day unfolds in Hiroshima. It's 8:15 a.m., August 6, 1945. As people prepare for another day of work, a plane soars through the sky, unaware of the impending disaster. A colossal black object plummets from an altitude of 9,400 meters. In a devastating explosion, just 500 meters above the ground, a fireball ignites with a temperature surpassing the sun, and its radius stretches over 2 kilometers. In an instant, everything within its reach is transformed into nothingness. The blinding light obliterates the sky's color, instantly blinding those who inadvertently gaze upon the blast. Little do they know, an even worse fate awaits them. A wave of heat engulfs the city, generating a scorching wind that boils everything within a radius of over 10 kilometers. Trees turn to ash, flesh peels from bones, and the water in bodies evaporates in an instant. The immense pressure created by the blast and heat produces a shockwave exceeding the speed of sound. Towering structures are reduced to debris, while vehicles become deadly projectiles in the searing downpour. Chemicals released by the explosion adhere to the laws of physics, permeating the air and creating a colossal mushroom cloud. The shattered air generates powerful gusts and vortexes, converging at the epicenter of the blast, carrying dust and smoke to form an immense mushroom-shaped cloud. The returning thermal wave engulfs the central area, where survivors within the 20-kilometer radius encounter death once again. Meanwhile, death continues its relentless journey, spreading devastation far and wide within a 20-kilometer radius. Hiroshima becomes a sea of fire, claiming hundreds of thousands of lives within hours. As the mushroom cloud gradually dissipates, survivors face a grim reality. The fortunate ones spared from the initial blast endure hours of agony, awaiting rescue amidst the ruins. Temperatures drop, and discolored clouds release radioactive rain, blanketing the devastated landscape with toxic remnants. Those exposed to this lethal downpour will continue to perish. For those who remain, those who cannot be more fortunate, timely aid in the city's hospitals becomes a distant hope. In the years that follow, the chilling consequences of radiation become apparent as tumors infiltrate their bodies. Yet, the nightmare persists. On August 9, 1945, at 11:01 a.m., another black object descends upon the sky of Nagasaki. A different yet eerily familiar scene unfolds. The city, devoid of wings, is struck by a bomb even more powerful than Hiroshima. These inhumane attacks claimed the lives of approximately 200,000 people, haunting generations to come. The world turned to the United States for answers and accountability, and at the center of these unspeakable acts was a man with eyes bluer than the deepest ocean, Robert Oppenheimer.
Few people laughed. Few people cried. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Born in New York on April 22, 1904, he was the older son of German Jewish immigrants. His father, Julius, was a textile importer who became very wealthy, while his mother was a painter with a family history in New York spanning generations. Robert grew up in Manhattan on the Upper West Side in an apartment adorned with paintings by famous artists, including Van Gogh. He had a younger brother named Frank Oppenheimer, who would later play a significant role in his life. Despite his fortunate background, Robert experienced a sense of isolation, feeling misunderstood by those around him. His exceptional intelligence and unconventional thinking set him apart from his peers, making it challenging for him to form connections. From an early age, Robert's exceptional mind led him to the field of chemistry, and he pursued studies at Harvard to become a chemist. However, fate had other plans, and he discovered a strong affinity for a different discipline, physics. This attraction began after he took a course on thermodynamics. He also studied philosophy, Greek, and French literature. Robert spent his days living in the library, as he put it, intellectually raiding the place. He enrolled at Harvard a year late due to suffering from colitis, an inflammatory bowel disease. But he made up for it by graduating in 3 years instead of 4. He then crossed the pond to the University of Cambridge to conduct research at the Cavendish Laboratory for Experimental Physics. However, he soon realized that his forte was not in experimental work, but rather in theoretical physics. The stress of grad work threw him into depression, and he became emotionally unstable. He even confessed to lacing an apple with harmful chemicals in an attempt to poison his tutor with whom he didn't get along. Fortunately, the tutor didn't eat the apple. The challenging period of Robert's unsettled mind gradually faded when he made the decision to leave Cambridge behind and join one of the prominent centers for experimental physics at the University of Tingen in Germany. Despite his youth, he produced good work and held his own. He was only 23 years old when he received his PhD. Subsequently, he returned to the U.S., where he worked as a research fellow at Harvard and later at the California Institute of Technology, Caltech. He was so absorbed in his studies that he often ignored the real world. However, the rise of fascism in Europe in the 1930s caught his attention. It was a time when fascist ideologies were gaining momentum across the continent, and the world was hurtling toward the most devastating days of World War II. As the world buzzed with ideas to create weapons of mass destruction, Oppenheimer was selected in 1942 to direct the Manhattan Project, a top-secret U.S. Army project aimed at developing the atomic bomb. This achievement would ultimately bring him fame, albeit with a name that would haunt him for the rest of his life. And there you have it, a glimpse into the hidden histories of Hiroshima. Beyond the well-known tragedy of August 6, 1945, we've uncovered stories of resilience and human spirit. By honoring the survivors and reflecting on the ethical implications of our shared history, we're called to build a future free from the shadows of nuclear devastation. This journey urges us to embrace empathy, peace, and a collective commitment to shaping a better world. HT Knowledge Lab, where mysteries meet knowledge and truth becomes an exploration.